Man, I fucked that up, didn't I? How many years did me and you have between us?
How old are you?
31.
Then it's 3 years.
2, 1. It's the Shant and Ari podcast, you guys. Episode number 20. Shant.
Congratulations.
Congrats, bro. How you feeling tonight, big guy?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I've had this fucking Gary V video on my mind all week. I feel like we talk about Gary V a lot, man. It's fucking getting free promo on there.
A lot.
He's getting a lot of free promo on our fucking podcast, but it's okay.
Yeah, because he really needs it, right?
So, and I wanted to jump in on this because I think like we had a good little debate about this like topic kind of like slash fucking concept of. So I was listening to this Gary Vee, and he's kind of been talking about this a lot, right? And I was watching this one thing where he said, if you're in business right now, if you own a business in the past like 3 to 5 years, if you have not succeeded or made money in this market where the market's so good, you have the internet, you have free marketing, all this stuff. And if you're not doing well right now, you just suck at business and you should consider something else.
Wow, that's a bold statement to make. But there's so much truth behind the statement. It's like, listen, dude, you got Instagram, you got Twitter, you got all these different avenues. And like hyper marketing and advertising, right? Like all you have to do is just enter in a few keywords and be able to like pop up right in front of the exact person that needs to be finding you.
Yeah, and it's cheap to advertise now. Like you don't need commercials, you don't need stuff. You could just run Facebook ads. Like it's so much. So what I was thinking, I'm like, is it that that person, whoever it is, that's not doing good right now, the past 5 years? Are they just not good at business, or are they in the wrong business?
Right. That's a good question to ask. And actually, the funny thing is I was watching another Gary Vee thing where like he was saying like, listen, 10 years ago, I was still doing my father's wine store. Like he's only been at this hardcore for 10 years now, as far as like hyper, like insane marketing guru.
Gary Vee, yeah.
People think he's been doing it for such a long time. He's only been doing it for 10 years, but it's such a crucial 10 years of development that's taken place that have really either like put so many businesses out of business and started like a new wave of how we're doing things, how we're conducting business nowadays. It's a crucial 10 years. So the past 5, I can get a lot of truth out of what he's saying.
So do you agree?
I agree to a certain extent. I think that we've got to understand exactly, are we talking about even the traditional salesperson or even the traditional business person, like somebody like me and you? Or are we talking about people that have like no business experience whatsoever trying to like sell sneakers on their Instagram or something and just suck at it?
I mean, it's everything. I think all of it. It all matters, right? Whether you own a pizza shop, or you got an insurance company, or you're a realtor, or you're a car broker, restaurant owner, or if you're on fucking Instagram selling t-shirts, if you're not doing good right now in the past 5 years and you started 3 to 5 years ago, or haven't gotten better every year, does that mean you suck at business? Because I was like, do I suck at business? I mean, I've gotten better every year. So I started second guessing myself that I'm like, or are people in the wrong business? Maybe they'll succeed on their second thing. Because, like sometimes it comes back to like passion. Are you doing your passion, or are you trying to just do a business? Like, should you be going for your passion or not? So like, I don't know what you think, because you kind of think we have different thoughts on this one.
So you said that just now, and I like, for me, it's never just a cut and dry thing. Like I have to overanalyze and create different scenarios in my head. And I think to myself, like, even if you were the shittiest business person or business minded person, even if you were the shittiest one at that, you could still probably succeed if you milked the resources available to you for all that they're worth. So, in saying that just now, I think that my father, given how traditional marketing has shifted, would have probably tanked 5 years ago. So let me explain to you why exactly. So my father's been in business for a very, very long time. He's had his trials and errors. He's had failures. He's had successes. And his very last attempt at sort of, or I shouldn't say very last. I don't know what my dad has up his sleeve to do,
Yeah.
whatever, right? But his very most recent attempt at establishing the successful business was our current catering and takeout company.
Mm-hmm.
Catering and takeout company wasn't always a catering and takeout company. It was just a catering company. So about 10 years ago, I shouldn't say 10, about 8 years ago, my dad brought me on board and to develop the takeout company because catering as an industry altogether was failing. It was right after the recession.
The economy wasn't good, right? So, yeah. And was it his idea to start takeout, or was it your idea?
It was his idea in order to be able to sustain until the economy picks back up, which it did.
So did he think that at the time? Like, hey, let's, like, was he, huh?
He's an economist by degree.
Because, like, that's what I want to know. Because your dad's a fucking smart guy. Like, he is thinking 10 steps ahead of most people. So I want to know, like, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, when you guys were kind of struggling, the catering business is down, the economy's down. I want to know what's going through his mind, right? Like, is he sitting there like, okay, everyone, we're okay? Was he panicking? I want to know all these things. Was he panicking? Was he calm? Was he like, okay, hey, we're going to start this new branch and we're going to let that kind of cash flow a little bit to keep the catering business alive. So when the economy comes back up, we're full force. Like, paint me that picture. What happened? Were you guys in a room drinking ori, fucking smoking cigarettes? Like, what happened?
I think he was drinking Oli that night.
Yeah.
So it's kind of scary too, because I remember it was very, very serious. I think it was like a February evening at like 6
Cold as
p.m.
shit.
Yeah. Cold, bitter. He's like, Adi, he goes, you got to think with me, man. Not man, but like he was basically laying it out in front of me. He goes, I know that we have enough space. And my dad's very reactive too. Like he won't actually, he's not proactive by nature. Like he's just very, very reactive. He has like a famous thing I told you. He has like a famous phrase that he loves to use. It's, if the baby doesn't cry, you don't give it milk. Right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the baby's got to cry for you to want to give it milk.
Yeah.
That's his famous phrase. So I remember seeing him being like the most sort of like least optimistic I've ever seen him. And because he's an economist and realizes sort of where he lays during the recession is past, but he hasn't picked up, which means ultimately down. So he's asking me, what are your thoughts about utilizing the existing space, the rent that we're paying already, to increase cash flow by means of obviously takeout? And I'm like, fuck, man, like this isn't my passion. You know, like this isn't where I see myself in 30, 40 years, you know?
You grow up thinking you're going to run a takeout. Fuck, yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
And I even told him, I'm like, Bob, listen, like I don't want to ever do catering. Please, like don't force me to be at a wedding catering for like 300-400 people. And he knows that now. Like Adi's not going to do like formal functions. I might do like corporate caterings, etc. But regardless, long story short, he was wise enough to develop that business to be able to sustain the effects of recession, right? But there's a component to that that even if he had done it on his own, because of the way the market shifted in these last 10 years, like Instagram came out the year.
So yeah, before you get into this, because I'm going to touch on Instagram because that's huge coming up, but I still want to focus because this is like, if you guys aren't like paying, like listening, this is fucking like during that time I wasn't in business or anything. I'm sure it was stressful, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned, right? When you're in some shit like this, like you're literally like, if you talked your dad out of it, things would have been different. If you talked them into it, and you know what people don't realize, you could have done takeout. It could have hemorrhaged your business, right? Like you could have been spending money to get takeout stuff, and it couldn't have went. Like it could have like just not been a good idea, and that could have crushed you guys, probably, right?
It would have forever ruined everything.
Yeah. So like, this is like so like interesting to me. Like, listen, we've never talked about this.
No,
And
not to great detail, and I want to try and summarize as best as I can because we got like very little time to be able to dissect. So, long story short, Instagram came out that same year that we started this business, and like people were relying a lot on like Facebook, right? Because this was like the new up and coming thing. And he goes like, Facebook
yeah, you were going a little hard on Facebook. I remember that. It was like, I remember that. Like it was.
I was juicing it, bro. I was putting up pictures of me and my dad, like hugging, like.
Yeah. Boston. You're on the Boston. What was that? Boston Globe newspaper.
It was so crucial, man.
But I think what really shifted for your guys' business was when you hopped on Instagram. And you went fucking like, dude, you went fucking hard.
Every day. And people like.
If you guys like don't understand, like if like you go hard on YouTube now, but I think you used to go harder on Instagram when you first started.
To where you're digesting it, right? To where you're actually taking it in.
It was, and the thing you made Instagram, because it was out, but like how you made a thing where you made it where like people had to come and hang out. Right?
You gotta see what this is all like. Where is it? How is it? What's the ambiance like?
People hanging out there. You had like entourage, like, and like people would want to come and be like, "Yo, what's happening at fucking Ani takeout?"
Out of state people, whenever they would visit, it would be like we gotta pop by here. You know, like what's going on here?
Was that intentional? How you were kind of marketing, or did you just kind of say, "Hey, I'm gonna throw a bunch of shit out and hope something"? Like, what was your mindset like at that time? Ari, like 6-7 years ago, and how you just like blew the restaurant up because of Instagram. I think it was purely off Instagram.
Purely, yeah. Big time. I juiced it for whatever it was worth. I don't give a shit how many likes I get now, as long as I got what I needed out of it then. And now I'm using another platform to spread whatever I need to spread, that being YouTube. So, I need to say something that is directly related to this conversation. So a lot of people will be like how is it that you have absolutely no passion for that business, but you were able to get it
hard.
Right?
It went hard.
So Shant, I was talking with a girl who listens to our podcast a lot. So this conversation that we had, I mentioned something a little bit risky. Right, a little bit sort of over the top, and I'll just flat out say it. We grew up poor, man. Like we grew up not having a lot, always feeling a little bit like insecure about how we're gonna make ends meet. And even then, when we started that business, we were worrying about like this might be it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think more than anything, regardless of passion, when it comes to the subject matter, whatever you're actually doing business for, I think that underlying motive of not making it, or knowing that there's a possibility of not making it, is what's fueling you actually going hard, right? Making sure that you're not going to flop or not going to tank. So I think just knowing, like, listen, like I need to eat, and I have this many different options available to me to be able to get there, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, direct marketing, treating every customer like they're a king, which I did. I did every single thing that I could, and I am not a business person.
By trade.
By trade, by mindset, none of it. I just know my product, and I like to help people. Am I passionate about my product? Yes. I'm passionate about the product that I
Well,
see.
because you guys make it.
Right. Because
So
it's not like product.
Yeah, it's not like you're selling Nike shoes. You have a storefront with Nike shoes, and you might not care about shoes. You don't care much about fucking falafels, but you're making the fucking falafels.
Right. So I have one thing going for me where if you stripped it from me, or sorry, I got two things. But if you took away one of them, I'd fail. And I want to give it back to you after this, and I want you to sort of relate to it. I got two things. I'm passionate about the product that I'm selling, not my industry, but my actual product. And I'm passionate or motivated to help somebody, right? If you took away one of these things, my business in particular would sink, because that's the kind of business that I'm in. I'm in the hospitality and food business. If you're not hospitable, or have good food, you're out.
Yep.
So if you don't have good customer service in, like, say, I don't know, the sneaker business, you might still have a shot because you got your product and I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I were to sort of like flip this back on you, if I'm telling you that I love my actual product that I'm selling you and I love to help people, I'm going to find a way to make it.
Okay.
And if you took away one of these things, I ain't going to make it. No matter what Instagram, no matter long term, you're just not going to make it.
Yeah. Okay.
What would that be like for you? Because we both know that it's not your product.
So I don't have a product. So you're asking me, like, next year, right? If you took one thing away from me, that's right. If you took one thing away, I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think that would be?
So what would it be? So it's not the product, right? Because I don't own the product, right? I do.
Your customer decides the product that you want them to sell you.
So service for me is important, right? But I think even with bad service, you could still get by in real estate. Just not as, like, not to a high level, but you'll still, like, you can still get around, right? So for me, that's a tough question. I think it would be not passion, not motivation.
You think it's persistence?
I think it's persistence because I don't see another option. Like, I feel like, so, like, like, I didn't graduate from college. I don't have a degree, right? I don't really have vast amount of skills, right? Like, I didn't grow up with my hands building shit, right? Every time my dad tried to show me something, I'm like, like, he's like yelling at me, I'm yelling at him, and it just never worked out. He's like, just hold the flashlight. So, like, it just never worked out. So I'm not like, so I really don't have a lot to, like, fall back on. So to me, it's like do or die. Kind of like, so if you take that do or die-ness out of me, I might just sit back and just chill, not show up, be like, I don't need to do my work today. I could just start back next week. But in real estate, that crushes you. So for me, it's like just maybe the fucking fire. I don't know how to say it. I don't know if you're catching my drift here.
So the fire in what? To be able to actually close a deal?
Just to succeed.
Just to succeed. So, like, you're basically your motivation to show up to work. If you sort of just waited for it to come to you, like a lead to come to you,
Yeah.
like you, if I took that away from you, where like you were like going to work, you were doing those mailings that you always do. If I took that away and I made you sort of
Like a good person who just hangs. Yeah, I would probably not do well at all. It's for me, yeah, it's the muscle of I have to show up and like fucking I have to do what I have to do. If not, I have no other option.
right. So
Could be scarcity.
so my father, right, will always see hope in a situation, right? And I'm not like that. The moment that things start to go down is when I'll pick up and make sure we're not sinking, right? Even though if he says everything is good, everything is fine, I'm going hard just to make sure. And I feel like you have a thing that's sort of right in between me and him,
Yeah.
where you're still kind of chill, but you're still kind of like, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit conservative on this one. Like, do my thing still, go to the office a couple hours early.
Yeah. Funny story, and I'll get a little personal here. So like a month ago, I was freaking out, right? That like I felt like we had no money, just because like Betty takes care of the finances, right? And like I just kind of put my head down and go, right? And we'll kind of review stuff like here and there, right? And so I know what's going on, but like I thought we had no money, so I'm like fucking just head down, like just have to like keep going because like I feel like we're at zero. And then I talked to Betty. I'm like, hey, man, we have to kind of slow things down. Like, we can't be spending money. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, she showed us our like savings account. We had, an emergency fund savings account. I'm like, huh? Like, shit, why'd you show me that? Because
You fucked up, Betty.
so it's like, so I kind of have that kind of like you, where if you feel like things are down, you're just like going, right? But then now I feel like, okay, it's fine. It's like it kind of balanced me out a little bit, right? It kind of took the fire out of me.
So, do you know if I were to tell you something? I want to hear your thoughts on this because it could be the defining factor in Gary Vee's sort of argument.
Mm-hmm.
If my father wasn't involved in the catering business in overseeing what was happening, we would have still failed if I were to be the one that was completely in charge.
Because you don't like it.
No. I am a little bit too lenient and irresponsible when it comes to, and this is where I think a lot of millennials are failing. People that are passionate, people that love their work, but are irresponsible with management. So my father says that I have a very, very lax approach when it comes to material use, as in I use too much material, I waste too much, I always go for expensive quality products that I can't substantiate in my price. And then to go even a step further, I give away stuff in an effort to win you over.
The nice guy shit that we have. Yeah. If you guys have not listened to our nice guy episode, I don't know which one it is. Fucking, you'll see nice guy. That's a thing that me and you both have where we will.
Gary Vee gave this tip away. He said, if you, instead of giving a discount, you give away something for free, they will come back. I told this to my dad. He said, I don't care who this person is. You're not giving anything away for free. Cut the shit. And he would constantly get pissed off at me for giving shit away. Discounts.
Your dad did give me a free sandwich, so he's a liar.
No, he took it out of my paycheck. No.
He's like, you invited Shant. That's it.
So the difference between me and my father is that he has a little bit more discipline.
Yeah.
And he doesn't play that nice guy card. He really doesn't. He doesn't give a single shit about, half the fucking people that walk in here are Armenian. I'm going to give everybody a discount.
Yeah, me and you would be like, yeah, they're our people, or someone who's not our people. Well, they're not our people, so let's give it to them for free. So we're giving it everything to for
Right.
free.
So here is where the traditional business person and the modern entrepreneur can learn something, Shant. And I really, you know what I want, bro? I really, really wish that you take it right now and you completely absorb it and tell me what you're feeling after hearing it. Had I run this business on my own, this business would have failed down to the T how Gary Vee explained that it would. If you didn't make it in the last 5 years, you're not a good business person. Doesn't mean that you're not a good marketer, advertiser, customer service type person. You're not a good business person. There's truth behind the meaning, the very essence of what he's saying.
Okay.
You're not cut out for business. On the flip side, all of my good qualities are qualities that the traditional old school business person does not possess. He's too busy running a business. Do you see where yin and yang magically met in me and my father's collaborative effort to make what is today Ani? Bless you.
So you're saying, just so I could get this clear and kind of, if you were on your own running Ani Catering, it would fail before.
Yeah.
It
Not
would
now.
fail. Why not now?
Because my father taught me everything that
Okay.
I know.
Okay, so if you got into it, you would fail, okay? Because you're not a good business person.
Not now. At the time, I would have been the very definition of that shit business person that Gary Vee is stating that you are if you didn't make it in these last 5 years. I would have been the example, the poster boy.
So then I kind of think that then Gary Vee's kind of full of shit.
I could have told you this a few weeks ago that some of his arguments are meant to shake you up, to scare you.
Because like he says he always had this entrepreneurial spirit, right? Like growing up, and I did too. Like I would fucking clean people's snow, right? Charge them, whatever. I would fucking just do shit, right? Like growing up, right? But if you got into business right now, flat catering business, you would fail, right? But you had to learn how to run a business. So failing, you probably would have learned a lot. And in your second business, if you're a true entrepreneur, businessman, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you would have probably learned your mistakes and been better. So if Gary Vee never maybe worked for his dad, he wouldn't have learned how to run a business. He would have been just a great marketer, maybe. Right?
Gary Vee was brought on board for his father's business for marketing, for advertising. Wine Library TV, putting his dad's business on the internet, and so on.
Kind of like how you did with Ani Catering on Instagram.
Right, except I didn't go from 2 million to 60 million. I don't understand what the fuck that's all about, but on that sort of, yes, on that road, basically I took it from the traditional concept to completely making it modernized. What are your thoughts in what I'm trying to tell you in that two people, you took the best of the two people, and that's what actually caused the business to succeed. It wasn't.
But a lot of times people don't have two people.
And I think that's partially the reason why a lot of businesses tank or a lot of partnerships fail. Because you're too busy finding out while wasting another person's money while finding out. You start off as like this well-funded and like planned out business, and you're too busy pissing away all that money, not noticing that your business will eventually fail because there's a piece missing. There's a component to that missing.
So do you think, are you on board with having business partners? Do you think it, because like you basically, if you didn't have your dad, it wouldn't have blossomed for him and for you.
I think that what Gary Vee, I think that what he also should have said is that these 5 years, if you failed in your business, instead of telling somebody they're a shitty business person, tell them, understand exactly what caused you to fail in these last 5 years and work on that. Understand what it was that caused you to fail. Was it a lack of marketing? Was it a lack of knowledge about your product? What is it that caused you to fail, man? Because this is something that I could have given you a very clear cut had I failed personally. I could have given you a clear cut reason why I failed. It was poor management on the back end. It was wasted money on making my business look a lot more than what it was. Using fancy plates.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Instead of spending like 20 cents on sandwich paper, spending $1.50 on sandwich paper, just wasting resources.
Sandwich paper is so important though, man. The quality is so important.
Right? Right? But we got by on shitty wax paper for the first couple of years. But the product was so good that people didn't care.
Yeah.
We got by on 2 employees, just me and him, for months because he said this is all the business could afford. And I'm
and
like,
we would have been the one that let's hire someone, let them do it.
Exactly. So there's so much to be understood from this. And I think that if you're a person trying to start a business, there's a lot of things that school will teach you. Economics will teach you. But the modern world, how all of this business is coming to you, is something that school won't teach. Yeah. So I think for you, real estate, because a lot of this stuff is managed already, what would you say is some of the most important things for you to possess right now for you to be able to make it? Because everything for you, it's possible that it's automated. Like you don't have sandwich paper. You have taxes. You have business cards. You have really, really automated stuff. Like you can have this stuff sort of just click a button, boom, done. Click a button, boom, done. You're not talking to vendors.
One thing I actually hired kind of like an assistant this past week.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't tell you.
No.
Well, like they're a transaction coordinator, kind of.
Right, paperwork, etc.
Yeah, so anytime I get a deal, just give it to them and they just take care of it, right? Because, so like right now I have 6 deals going on and I was fucking just like.
When does your TV show start? When are you airing your Celebrity Realtor?
I don't know, man. It's a real $1 million listing, fucking Tempe. There's like 3 Tempe houses for $1 million. So, and I was kind of getting like frustrated. Like I was like, fuck, man, this is way too much. And then Betty's like, do you really need to hire? Because then it's going to take money out. And then I'm like, kind of trying to do the math. And for me, it's like probably business wise, I could probably still get by without it to make sense on the. But I'm like,
you guilty having this conversation right now?
No.
Good.
But I felt good doing it because now it's like I can focus on just more business.
So I would feel guilty right now saying everything you just said because
Why?
of how I've been told the last 6-7 years to not spend money on this type of shit. It sort of holds you back. Like it's like a pain but a blessing at the same time. Don't spend, but get raped also. So there's a lot to be learned in becoming a good business person. However,
but the only way you could learn, bro, is like your dad had years of previous experiences. You know, like he went to school too, and he did all this stuff, but like he had to learn. You have to like be in the trenches to learn. Like no one wakes up, is born, and is like, you know what? Start a business today. I know how to do it. Just fucking without knowing anything, never, like you don't have, like, you just have to learn. Some people just get super successful right off the bat. But they had to learn some shit along the way because you're making mistakes.
What are your thoughts about purely passion about your business or industry as the driving force for being a sustainable business? Like
I don't
you
think
sell arts and crafts stuff. Like you're
I don't know. I think I don't think it has anything to do with.
not a good business concept.
Not that it's not a good business concept. Well, I think you don't need to have the passion to be a good, successful business person. But also, where if you're into your passion, I think, now I could be 100% wrong. It's my opinion, because I'm sure there's a lot of successful people. If you're in your passion, you kind of lose track of business sense, and you might make more mistakes because you're too emotionally involved because it's your passion.
So I think that's the only. Do you want me to just shut up now, or do you want me to finish the point?
Bye.
So,
yeah.
I think that particularly the reason why I'm doing so well on YouTube is because people see that passion. The passion is what's selling and causing subscribers and causing more views.
Well,
course.
yeah. What's your passion though?
My passion is, excuse me if I'm using a big word, I've been reading a little bit lately. My passion is disseminating very particular information for the consumption and practical application purely for the aid of the person absorbing the information.
Okay.
In essence, what I'm trying to say is my passion is to give you as much knowledge as I possibly can so you can save the most amount of money.
Okay, Adi, cut the shit real quick. Cut the shit. Right now, if you could do anything in the world, just fucking, and money's not an option. You don't need money. Money is already there. I just gave you $20 million. What would you be doing?
Professionally?
Yeah, because you're not going to just sit around and do nothing. You have to do something.
That's tough. I think it would be either one of two things.
Okay.
It would probably be either rolling shawarma or selling Mercedes. Salesperson. Sales manager.
Okay.
I love to desk deals. I love to calculate and do that kind of shit.
Okay, so you love the shawarma game because I think it's not just the physical act of the shawarma, but I think it's the atmosphere, people coming in and out, talking. So why I don't think you have the passion, just looking outside in, of like helping people with, I know you love helping people, but your main, that's not your driving force of passion, because if it was, you would say, I'd be a teacher or fucking, just help people. And so your passion is fucking the numbers and running a restaurant, just people coming in, being outgoing, having fun, them coming in, whatever the reason is. So I don't think that's your passion. You're lying.
I think that my passion is to teach people how to do what I do.
No, I think you're just really good at it, and you know it really, really fucking well, and you like doing it. Potentially love doing it, but it's not your passion. Like my passion, if you gave me all the money in the fucking world, okay, it would be, I would just try to fucking just get into basketball. Like I'm not going to be playing, coaching, fucking go to Armenia and fucking build basketball camps and shit like that, right? And be a real estate investor, because I love the game of that. So it's not like, yeah, that's what I would do.
So for a second, I thought we were talking about how you were talking about passion, or like how it relates to what we actually do right now.
Well, yeah, but that's why your passion is not.
That's my bad. Sorry. So if can I answer that? Can I have another shot at answering that question
Now
with
let's rewind.
honest to goodness truth? Don't laugh. I originally, before college, before business, before any of that stuff, do you know what I wanted to do?
I think you've told play basketball.
No.
Because I remember we played one day. All right.
So I went for like 2 summers to go and stay in California with my uncle. My uncle, we have 2 uncles. One on my dad's side, one on my dad's side, one on my mom's side. Both are doctors. And then I have a couple more uncles, one on my dad's side, one on my mom's side. That's an auto body owner. I wanted to be an auto body owner. I wanted to own a body shop.
Why?
What do you mean why? I found the work itself so interesting. Like seeing a damaged car, removing the parts, fixing whatever was wrong underneath, and putting the new parts on, painting it, and bringing it back to normal. I found that to be like just the most fascinating thing. I watch assembly happening on YouTube. Like I watch cars being assembled on YouTube. I've been to the BMW Mercedes factory
and growing up
enjoyed every second.
And Harach and shit, and our cousin who has an auto body shop.
It's the most fascinating thing for me.
You know what that kind of tells me?
What?
Putting a car back together is solving a problem. The problem is the car's fucked up.
Right.
You're solving it. Now, what are you doing with your YouTube? You're solving people's problem.
Right.
So your passion,
my passion is
problem solving.
Help and problem solve. Right. But if we're going to talk real talk, nobody around me, sort of like 7 or 8 p.m., the body shop's closed, nobody's in there, and I'm kind of still working, like maybe like a cigarette in my mouth, like I'm on my AirPods because Sako called for like the 4th time.
Yeah, about how much dishwasher he should get.
Yeah, I don't fucking know, man. I just got to finish this.
And I think you would do exotic cars probably.
Only exotic. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I wanted to customize also. Like, have you seen the guys RDBLA or like Platinum Motorsports?
Yeah.
How they do like only exotics. That was my thing. I wanted to do that.
Okay, so it's 10 o'clock at night. What would you say?
About what? What do you mean?
You were saying that you would be doing something.
I'd probably have the camera rolling at my body shop right now, showing work that needed to be completed on like a Ferrari 488.
That'd be a sick fucking YouTube
channel. That's what I wanted to do was auto. If you were to ask me, Ari, what is your dream job? It's to say I wanted to do exotic cars, repair and customization like RDBLA.
Would you still like to do that?
I'm just finding the more and more I complicate my line of work, the harder it is to be able to like sleep good at night.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, because I'm sure that these guys probably have a ton of guys calling them like, hey, bro, a sensor went off. Like, I don't want to be the cause for anybody's problems. Obviously, there's ways to do business that you do it right and you get it done, but cars don't work like that. Like, shit happens. Yeah. So I just don't even like to be like, I don't even want to do that anymore, man.
That's interesting.
So, but if you were to remove that aspect from it, like the complications of it now, where cars are all like fucking crazy computerized, that's what I'd prefer to be doing. Is that I just don't think about it anymore because it's not going to happen.
That's interesting, man. Yeah. I think that's a good place to leave this episode because I think that was Ari the Auto Body Shop. Adi's
All
Auto
right,
Body Shop.
that idea, man, a long time ago.
I'll come up with a good name for your exotic Adi's Auto Body Shop. So I don't know. We'll come up with something like a nice strip club name. All right, Adi. Well, yeah, that's see you next week.
So next week we're gonna do one of these, and then the week after, is it gonna be the one in person, or do we have two more and then the one in person?
No, this is one more, and then the next one will be in person. Should we do like fucking 10 episodes? Like rip them?
I don't have enough time to do that. No,
Just tell Betty like, hey, can you just like
go to the mall.
give us like 6 hours? We're just
Sounds reasonable. Yeah, I'm gonna record a podcast. 6 hours with Ari.
yeah, just go hang out in Adi's basement real quick, and hold you.
No, we're gonna need the basement to record the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, we'll figure something out.
All right, cuz.
All
Good
right, man.
talk, huh?
Yeah, fun. Learn some things, man. Learn some things today.
You can't just be good at Instagram to make it in business. You got to know how to operate QuickBooks.
We won't get into the tax stuff, man. I know it's a sore subject.
Talk to your accountant first before you start.
Yep.
Good night, Shant.
Good night, Adi. Everyone. Bye.
Bye.